We are live in Austin, Texas, Circuit of the Americas. Today it's race number 3 in 2025 for the NASCAR Xfinity Series. When it's time to go green, it's Circuit of the Americas front row, Zilich and Chastain. Off we go in Austin, Texas.
There you see it, they're already fanning out, protecting on the inside for Zilich there from William Byron, but you see a lot of cars 3 wide as they exit out of turn 1.
Yeah, and as they exit off of the racetrack, that's normal. Don't be taken back by cars running over the curbs. That's what these cars do every single weekend. They try to minimize or make the track as wide as possible, and Connor did a great job. We talked about him maybe overshooting that turn. It looked to me like he did it with perfection.
This is where you really want to get sorted out as we get into this new section of 6A and 6B. It's going to be hard to go side by side here. You see Austin Hill on the inside and Taylor Gray there trying to make some moves. 3 wide behind them in the back. That is going to be real tight as they head to 6B here.
Yeah, and Parker, one thing that you have to keep in mind is that the spotters here, like we depend on spotters at ovals, and they can see the whole track. Here you use multiple spotters. They can't see every part of the racetrack, so you're dependent on your mirrors in a section like that 6A to know who's there and who's not.
Blue and white 17, William Byron, Daytona 500 champion, running his first Xfinity race of the year. Jumped to second at the start, but has fallen back to third. It's Ross Chastain in the 9, who's up to the runner-up spot. And here's another one of the JRM Chevys. The 8 red, white, and black machine is Sammy Smith, who was 4th here 2 years ago as a rookie.
Yeah, speaking of rookies, look at these 2 guys right here. Carson Kvapil, rookie, ran great in the limited amount of races he did last year. He actually came here and ran a TA2 car to get a little bit of track time. Ran really well in that race. Qualified well here today.
Yeah, won the pole that race.
Yeah, and has put himself in a great position today.
And racing with Corey Heim, who drives by in the 24. This is our Toyota onboard camera. Heim running his first race of the year. Part-time effort for Sam Hunt Racing, and he won the truck race here a season ago. Confidence not a problem for this young driver out of Georgia. And we are under caution. Aerial coverage today brought to you by the Lucas Oil helicopter. An unfortunate situation for the 14 of Carson Hocevar. Jumped in that ride for Garrett Smithley. Window net down. He's out and done for the day.
Might have had a little help here.
Yeah, might have had a little help from Jeb Burton in the 27. I would tell you that Carson opened up his entry on that.
Yep.
Jeb probably doesn't want to make contact right there, but you're kind of out of control on both sides of that. And unfortunately, it put Carson Hocevar hard into the outside barrier.
And I don't think that's going to be the last time we see that today. As we go on board here, to your point, he's kind of trying to set up for the corner. Jeb was looking inside, and it's not a hard bump, but it's just, that shows you how little grip is down there. It's older asphalt in that section, so there's less grip when you get on that. And it's just something I think we're going to continually see today. And cars getting together there.
You're vulnerable in that section of the racetrack. You see there was a little bump before they get there. You're already on the edge. It just doesn't take much on entry to get somebody spun around.
They told him to stay on the racetrack, and it looks like we have the 35 stuck on the racetrack.
Yeah, that's Baltazar Leguizamon, who's making his first ever start in the Xfinity Series, and the caution is out for the 2nd time today.
Yeah, something on the
and it happens with...
I don't know.
88 was on pit road. The question is, did he get in before pit road closed because of the caution?
Oh, we're getting told right now that the 88 did not make it, so the red light was on. Maybe Connor didn't see it. It'll be interesting to see exactly how close it is, but I will tell you, if you're watching at home, this is going to be a spectacle to watch the 88 go to the back, and we'll see him drive back up through the field. You see that top left of your screen, the green light is on right here. And just as and just so you know, he can abort to the right. It's fair game as long as you don't have 4 tires below the orange box that's kind of in the red paint on the right-hand side of that yellow line. You can go to the right. There's no penalty. He had enough of a lead that he would have continued to be the leader. I personally would have thought that Connor would have noticed that, as close as that is.
That's a tough angle, I'll tell you.
For William Byron, it's his 3rd career stage win on a road course.
But it's not over. If you're William Byron or Ross Chastain, you know that Zilich is fast enough that if he doesn't have an issue, doesn't get caught up in a wreck, that he's going to get back up there. There's plenty of racing left. But it has opened the game up a little bit for these guys to eliminate him.
Or that, but if you're alone and they see you make a cut, that's going to be a point where you're going to get the penalty for that, and that's just tough.
And more penalties. Speeding on their green flag stop. Sheldon Creed 00. 19 Riley Herbst, 9 of Ross Chastain.
Wow. Yeah, you just can't do that at the end of this race. You got to get what you can, but you can't speed at this point in the race, and those guys need to know better than that.
Justin Allgaier going to stay on the lead lap off of turn 20 and back to the green and white checkered flag. Congratulations, Harrison Burton, who is the winner, stage 2 in Austin. We hit 12 laps to go. Carson Kvapil, looking for his first career victory, has taken over the top spot. You saw it side by side, and Connor Zilisch came with his teammate, the 88, now a runner-up, and boy, is he putting on the pressure.
And that was a great move by Carson Kvapil there to get defensive into turn one. He saw the move from Zilisch to go to the inside, and he was able to do that, not overspeed the corner, and even get a little bit of a bigger gap, Jamie, to Connor behind to drive away from him at a point.
And Parker, when I watch, it just seems to me that Zilisch is being a little bit smoother, almost like his car. Oh, a big wheel lockup right there, though. We know that ended. Allgaier had his day ruined by that. We've seen that all day long.
And a decent lockup there in 20. Lockup. That's the bump when he goes across with the tire up. Everything's good.
And that's so easy to do there down into turn 20, because what happens off at 19, if you try to push it, you go out wide as you saw, and as you get back over the portion of the track where you actually brake, there's a lot of bumps, and when you get that different, the right side on the paint, the left side on the asphalt, you lock that right front as the car bounces, and then it's hard to stop it from locking. We saw Austin Hill do it, we've seen Carson Kvapil do it, and now Zilisch as well. They all have to do better taking care of those right fronts.
And he's really quick from the entry of turn 19 to turn 1. Oh, no, not again.
He oversped the corner a little bit. Just trying.
Oh, he's inside of him right now.
The door's open. Back to the start-finish line. 9 laps to go.
Oh, he's rubbing, though, already. Look at that.
Connor Zilisch smoking, but trying to take over the race lead. Top of the hill, turn 1, 88, back on point at Coda.
So try the crossover move. We see this often in turn 1, but he's not quite beside him. Zilisch to the lead in turn 2.
The first flag you want to make sure you see is the white flag, because you don't want to introduce overtime. We know how wild that can get here. After that, you can ride just a little bit cleaner, knowing that you don't have to deal with any more of those issues running up the hill. And
Tire down, right front down.
for Carson Kvapil. He slid it so many times, now the right front tire is down.
He abused it and continued to abuse it, and this is the risk in doing that. You cut down that tire, you abused it too much. We knew there were some front tire issues amongst the field, and he just kept locking it up and maybe couldn't get the brake bias for enough back, whatever it was. But once you start to do that too often, it gets that flat spot, and it just compounds and gets worse as you do it, and now that right front is given up.
The white flag is out, 1 lap to go, sponsored by Credit One Bank. Connor Zilisch started on the pole, plenty of adversity in this race, but now he's less than a lap away from finishing the deal.
And one of the things I've noticed, his lap times are dramatically slowed down. He got the message. He had a 4.5-second lead. He's let William Byron cut 2 seconds out of that almost, but he still has a 2.7-second lead as Taylor Gray and Jesse Love go side by side to turn 1. He'll have the inside into turn 2.
Taylor Gray is telling Jesse Love, you better be glad I'm saving fuel. He's like, that's the only reason you got by me.
But I think even with the spots that he has lost, Taylor Gray's going to feel really good about 7th if he can bring it home.
It's going to be fun to hear from Connor if he's able to get back to the start-finish line just about this day, because it's going to show that he won practice, set on the pole, and won the race, but it was anything but easy.
What amazes me about him is with all the hype, and I know he pays attention to that, and he sees it, and he feels it, and he hears it. That, for a lot of young drivers, would just crush them. They would make mistakes, but we just haven't quite seen that. Yes, was he overly aggressive at one point? Sure, but the speed has been there all weekend. He's done it from the first lap of practice to now on the final lap of this race. He has commanded this with just the most speed in the field. It is so impressive. There's a lot of hype around him, but for good reason, Adam. This is what he does.
He's dealt with the pressure quite well. Going to make his Cup debut tomorrow. But this season, all about what he does on Saturdays. Off of turn 20, Connor Zilisch is a road warrior. 2nd career victory for the driver out of Mooresville, North Carolina, comes at Circuit of the Americas.
Way to go. Congrats, Connor, man. Awesome job today, bud.
A lot of pressure. A lot of pressure on the 88 coming here. Everybody wants to win at a road course, but he was expected to win, and that's a different mentality when you show up to the track.
And doing his first Cup start this weekend has the distraction that is, but it just doesn't matter. Nothing seems to faze this young man.